Welcome to the Fairmont Luxury Resort in Monte Carlo. The 31st World Backgammon Championship started out with 335 players, and now we're almost down to the final four. We have already seen Philip Vischjager, Luigi Villa, and Kazuhiro Shino secure their places in the semi-final. Andreas Humke and guard Kamali are fighting a battle right down to the wire for the right to join the others in the final four. We pick up play in the thrilling finale of the last quarter-final. Well, this really has been a match of some nerve-wracking swings. A monster roll by Humke.
Well, yeah, he's completed a 6' and he's put Carmelli on the bar. This is now simply Humke's match to win. It's really astonishing if you think about the way that he's gone through a few matches like this. He did this in the last match against Cow. He's doing this now. He builds up a big lead, and he lets it get away. He comes all the way back to double match points, and now it looks, even if you have to remember, and this game started with him with 3 men on the bar. The swings in this are not for the meek. This is a game that would test the mettle of any player.
Humke, he still looks stressed. He knows now his position has changed in this game and in the match. And just look at Carmelli. He just looks cool and calm, although I know the stress is there.
Well, that was a kind of resigned shake of the head from Carmelli, actually. He just suddenly realized that his dice were not living up to expectation. He hasn't entered. His big chance there was to roll double sixes in the last 2 shakes or so and move around the board, but now he sees that, well, he just did roll double sixes. He moved around the board, but it may not be in time. We now see that Humke has his checkers off the board. He's only got a few points left to clear, but Carmelli has come around. He had 2 checkers off before Humke managed to hit him.
Well, now it's just a race, of course, and it's just down to who's going to throw the higher numbers.
It's amazing that no matter how complex a position a backgammon game develops into, it finally does come down to a race. Every game comes down to this level. Sometimes it's close, sometimes it's not, but here we have an amazing game, Humke with 3 checkers closed out, and it's finally come down to a close race.
Well, that's it, you don't need to answer that, they've answered it themselves. Humke stands victorious. He will fill the last semi-final spot, and what a match we have seen. I tell you what, that was terrific, and we can only hope that it gets better from here. I don't know if it will, but Andreas Humke, victorious, and they've been in a titanic battle, and what do you do from here?
You go home and have a drink. That's what you do from here. That's 5 a.m. and they're both pretty tired.
The match couldn't be any longer. I mean, it came to 2020, but all the backgammon players have a biorhythm that is adjusted to the backgammon. I mean, you will not find anybody here who is up in the morning at 9 o'clock. They all sleep, and not only on tournaments. Backgammon players are late-night persons.
It's tough to lose like this. But this is a nice tournament. He's a good player. I wish him the best.
You win the match when you make the 21st point, not before. And I know that. You have to bring the game to the board. Or at least try.
Do you know who you are going to meet tomorrow?
Yeah, Luigi Villa. He has also been world champion. Let's say if the new world champion can beat the former world champion. I've beaten already one world champion in this competition, David Namat.
A new day in Monte Carlo, and the tournament draws that little closer to the end. 4 men remaining in their quest to be crowned world champion. And with the semi-finals about to get underway, the tournament is sure to see more excitement and drama. The England-based Kazuhiro Shino and Philip Vischjager of the Netherlands go head-to-head in the first semi-final.
And here we see Shino start the first roll of this game with a 4-1 and play it the old style. He slots his 5 points. And here we see Vischjager roll double aces and elect not to hit. These are both plays that the computer tells us are old school and not actually correct. On the other hand, because of them, we're seeing a really interesting game. We're seeing a prime versus prime game start out just in the first few moves. Here, Vischjager has a 6-5 to play. Of course, he hits on the bar, and with the 5, he should come down, make his 8 point, and make a 4 prime. It turns out, in fact, that backgammon used to look more interesting when people were making bad plays. They had more prime versus prime games, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a really interesting game. With the 4-2, we see more of the opening melee, and now Vischjager rolls double 2s and is able to make his 4 point on Shino's head.
We've seen a lot of big names fall in earlier rounds. Tell me, are there any big surprises thus far in this tournament?
Well, there are huge surprises. There are surprises everywhere. These four players, these four players are well-known players, but they're not anyone's necessarily their picks for who would make it to the Final Four. But that's backgammon for you. There's a lot of chance. There's a lot of skill and a lot of chance.
The Dutchman Vischjager, we know he's had success in Holland. This surely must be his most impressive outing on the international scene.
Oh, this is without a doubt the biggest moment for all four players in their backgammon careers.
Look here, Vischjager offers a cube. What does Snowy have to say about this?
Well, this is a really interesting position. This is a prime versus prime position, which are very hard to analyze. And in fact, Snowy says that this is a completely optimal double and just on the borderline of a take-pass. There's really no way to make an error. The only error would have been for the player not to have doubled, but he did, and we've got a really exciting game here.
4-3 from Shino.
So Shino's able to make a point behind Vischjager's anchor. That's not best, but Vischjager is in control of this position. He's got the 4 prime. He's hoping to extend it to a 5 and 6 prime, and he's got the advanced anchor. You can see that Shino has 4 men back, so he's not so happy with his take immediately after having done so. But now he's made a double anchor, so we've got really this is the kind of game that where there's a big effective skill. It's easy to make mistakes in these kinds of positions because there are so many checkers back. The position is so complex.
A big double 6 from Shino. This could really change the complexion of this game.
Oh, it's huge, and it's quite interesting. Shino had a double anchor back, was sort of expecting to play a back game, but suddenly the timing switches. He's able to bring 2 checkers out, and indeed, as you said, the complexion of this game has changed entirely.
Well, Vischjager fans there.
Yeah, and now Shino's able to hit a second checker. This is the kind of thing that you never expect to have happen. You're thinking that you're playing a back game, and now you're trying to win going forwards.
Vischjager on roll, double 2.
Well, this is quite an interesting role, which presents Vischjager with many, many options. Let's look at these in some more depth. He's going to come in with 2 checkers from the bar, leaving 2 more 2s to play. What are some obvious things he can do? He can hit in the outfield here, hitting on the blot on the 9 point. He could hit loose on his own 3 point. He could move 2 checkers forward from his back anchor, allowing himself to try to escape that incipient prime. Or he could switch, moving from his own 5 point to his 3 point. So here we see Vischjager thinking about hitting on the 9 point. That's certainly an option. It looks pretty tasty with those 4 blots lying around the board. He has to think, though, that he's got 4 guys back. Is that really the kind of play that he wants to make? Notice it also leaves 2 blots of his own. There's just a high volatility here. That play could go in either direction. So he's thinking about a different play. He could be looking at moving his 2 men forward. Well, that's not really what he wants to do. That would be shifting from his 5 point to his 3 point. And he picks up his dice fairly quickly. He has actually picked the worst of the lot. Snowy actually gives that as a 0.3 error. That's pretty big. The problem with that play is simply that he's got 4 men back. He's trying to play in a way that leaves fewest blots, but he's really hurting his forward position. He's broken his prime, and that's just going to be a big concession for the entire rest of the game. He should be keeping his 4 prime and moving his back checkers forward. Already, you can see here, just 1 move later, now he's buried a checker behind that gap. He must already be looking at this and thinking, I'm not sure that was the play that I should have made.
Well, Shino fanned on his last roll. He comes in now with a 5 and a 6.
And as soon as he comes in with that 5, you can just see what kind of error Vischjager has made. Coming in with that 5, Shino is now taking control of the outfield. He does have a lot of blots, but he's not so worried because Philip Vischjager does not have enough ammunition to do a lot of damage here. Of course, let's see what roll.
4-2.
So Vischjager is going to play this very aggressively. He's going to hit there. Oh, no. He must hit on the 5 point. He needs his 5 point. He already got rid of it once. He needs to reclaim it, and that's another big error.
Are these uncharacteristic errors? Is it the pressure, or is it just the style of play? What's happening here?
Backgammon is a hard game. People do not play it perfectly. It's easy for me to be saying what the right play is here in the booth, but no one is free from error, and we're seeing lots of them. That's what happens. That's what makes the game exciting.
Now, should Vischjager hit here?
Yep, absolutely, he should, and he does. We're right now in pretty much a free-for-all. Both sides have advanced anchors. There's lots of blots in the outfield. Really, anything could happen here.
Fanning with a double 4.
And now Vischjager has got to find some way of bringing his checkers around in their optimal places. He's going to make a point in front of Shino's anchor, and then he's got a 2 to play. He'd like to hit, but in fact, this is probably the more prudent play.
Shino in on the 2 and a 6 to play.
Oh, he's going to come out. There's really only one play there.
Vischjager with a 5 and 4.
And that's a great roll. It hits in the outfield and then moves the checker past the prime.
It still seems very even here. What is the situation?
It is. Shino must be a little bit ahead strategically simply because he has the further advanced anchor. But beyond that, anything could be happening in any roll.
And Vischjager with a deuce ace.
Well, that's a fine, quiet roll. It allows Vischjager to make his 8 points, which is good for hemming in the Shino's checker back on the deuce point. So he seems to be thinking about this for quite some time, but it's really pretty clear that he should not do that, but in fact make his 8 point, which is what I'm sure he'll do. There we go.
It just seems that we're waiting for something to happen in this game. Can you get that feeling?
Well, that's very, very typical of these mutual holding games. We're in a position where, because they both have anchors, they both have some safety, and there's really no huge swing that can happen. But as the game progresses, eventually someone must leave an anchor, or someone rolls doubles, and there will be a big change.
Double 6s from Vischjager.
And here is exactly that change. Vischjager is about to attack behind Shino's anchor, make those 2 points, make the deuce point. With his other 2, he has a choice. He could make his own ace points, making it harder for Shino to enter. But in fact, Philip's making the best play.
Shino needs an ace or a 5, preferably a 5 to come in on.
Yeah, certainly a 5 would be best. And he rolls his best 5, a 5-4. That's a huge swing. Not only does he come in and evade being stuck behind the anchor, but he's able to hit Vischjager's checker. That's a remarkable swing.
Well, in just the space of 2 rolls, we have seen 2 big swings.
Well, that's why we play the game. It's an exciting game.
Okay, double aces here. What should he do?
Well, he's got a variety of plays. He doesn't have anything so dramatic to do. There's nothing that he can't hit a checker, but he just needs to find the optimal place for his checkers. I'm not sure that he wants to leave a blot on the ace point. It looks like it looks like a good place for it because it has to go there sometime, but it could be a liability in the future for being hit. So here we have a 3-1 for Shino. He's going to come out with a 3. That makes sense. He's going to pick up his blots. We had a tactical melee with a number of hitting plays back and forth, but now we're in a little bit of a more quiet position. With the 2, Vischjager is trying to come out, trying to escape the prime. Right now, Shino has 5 points of a prime. If he can make that 6 point, and he does, look at that, a 4-2, closes a 6 point prime. His other checkers are not primed at all. He's really got no problems left in this game.
In fact, Shino does go on to win the game. Vischjager with 2 sets of doubles saves the gammon. We go forward into game 9 with Shino trailing 5-9. Vischjager on roll, thinking about the cube.
This is a good cube, and it's a pass. Snowy's pretty clear about this one. This would be a 1.2 error. That would be a pretty big error for Shino to take here. He's trailing in the match, but nowhere near enough to start doing desperate things like that. Oh, that's a big error. That's definitely a big error. I mean, Shino's not known as the perfect technical player, but still, there's just no reason to be taking a cube like this. He's behind a prime. His opponent has an anchor. There's really no counterplay for Shino to be looking at to say, this is why I should be subjecting myself to this position. And things aren't going very well for him. He's got a 5-3. He's going to make his ace point. That's not the prettiest play to make, and he has stacks another checker on the 8 point. Really does not have a fluid position here.
Yes, things certainly not looking good here for Shino, but we know with backgammon, things can swing pretty quickly.
Oh, they can. This game is not over, but it's getting that way. The white checkers are close to a full 6 point prime, and it's going to take some interesting rolls for Shino to find his way out of this one.
5-3 by Shino now. It's not really offering anything for him at the moment.
No, that's what happens when you have a non-fluid position. You just don't have, you need miracle rolls in order to make interesting points. And with this 6-3, Vischjager gets to attack the lone checker on his ace point. And when you see that Shino has 6 checkers out in the outfield, you realize there's quite a few gammons that Shino might lose here.
Vischjager does go on to win a gammon. We move ahead to game 15, 22-6 Crawford.
The Crawford game means that Vischjager is 1 point away from victory, and that means that Shino cannot double in this game. So there will be no doubling whatsoever in this game. Shino has a 5-3 to play, and this is not what he wants to do. This is sort of a panic attack here. He's way down in the match, but simply making the 3 points, which is the much stronger alternative, is what he should be doing.
He's punished immediately with that ace.
Yep, that is what happens. He's making a impure play, and pretty much the story of this match is every time he makes any mistake, he gets punished for it, whereas Vischjager can make mistakes, and the dice treat him much, much better.
Well, the tension's building in the face of Shino. Obviously, he's a long way behind, but still, what can he do to turn this around?
Well, he has to sort of ignore the score. He has to say, I know I'm far behind, but I can't win it all back in this one game. All I have to do is win one game at a time. So he needs to just settle down and play some backgammon. So here he is. He's got 2 checkers in the bar. At least he does enter both. That's a good sign.
Double 3 for Vischjager.
But there we go again. That's the story of the match. Vischjager's rolling the doubles, the good rolls, and Shino's struggling to stay alive. So he gets to make his 5 points. He's thinking now about whether he should attack on his 3 or simply attack on the 10 point.
What does Snowy have to say about this move?
Well, Snowy says that the correct play is to come down from the 10 point, and the reason is that he's got so many more checkers there, he wants to unstack the position. But Vischjager's playing more aggressively. It's not a big error, but Vischjager also has to remember that he doesn't need to win a gammon. This is an interesting point. This play that Vischjager has made might be correct in other match scores. It's a more aggressive play, but in this position, Vischjager doesn't need to win a gammon. He just needs to win 1 point, so he can play a little bit more purely.
Double 4s for Vischjager. He loves throwing the doubles at the moment.
It is one way to win a backgammon match, is to keep on rolling good numbers, and Vischjager's found a way to do that. So with his double 4s, he's got a number of options. It looks like he really wants to make the 4 point. That's once again, that's really not the way that he wants to play this. Making the 4 point has got to be a stronger position.
A 6-5 from Shino.
6-5 does not escape that back checker. The best he can do is bring 2 checkers down. That is the right play, and hope to tread water. It does have the advantage of duplicating 6s. Vischjager needs a 6 to hit on the top of the board from his back checker, or a 6 to hit inside his board. But still, we're only a few rolls into this game, and now we're seeing that the white checkers have quite a big advantage.
Well, ahead in the race, Vischjager, Shino must try and keep this game complex.
Shino's just simply trying to stay alive. Vischjager was able to hit with that 4-3. Shino needs to enter. Shino needs to find some way of simply getting into the board. And he does. He gets the 2-1. That's quite a good roll. He's able to hit and cover his points, so he's certainly in a bad shape, but at least he was able to enter there. With this 5-6, Vischjager is able to come in, and of course he should simply hit. That's the primary understanding of backgammon, is you have more points in your board, you want to play tactically. So he hits. He breaks his 8 point and hits loose.
Shino really needs to come in here. Let's see what he rolls. He rolls a 4, comes in with the 4, has to play the 3. What should he do?
The 3 is pretty clear. He needs to attack on his 5 point. It leaves a second blot, which entails some risk, but it's the best point on the board. You can see he's considering it. You can see he's not happy, but he shrugs his shoulders, and that's the right play, so he makes it.
6-5 comes in and hits straight back.
And covers the deuce point. That's the story of the match. That's a really strong number for Philipp Vischjager.
Shino really needing a 4 here. Pressure on this throw. And luck not on his side. He doesn't get it. And we press forward now with Vischjager continuing to dominate. We pick up play with Vischjager bearing off.
So here we see Vischjager rolling a 6-2 and leaving a shot. This is the cruel swing of backgammon. He's got the game entirely under control unless Shino's able to hit this shot with a 6.
So really needing a 6 here. This is a big chance for him to get back into this game. What can he do?
Well, he rolls a 6, but it's a 5 and a 1, and that's not the way that you hit in backgammon. Oh, one final shot, a 6-3. Vischjager is going to have to leave one more shot
Well, the door is still slightly open there for Shino. He knows it. How many chances will he have? And will luck finally turn to his side? Let's have a look. He needs a 5 here.
The dice will decide all here. If Shino can roll a 5, he can play on. If not, we have a new finalist.
So that's it. Shino makes his exit from the tournament. It's all over for him, but this man on screen, Philip Vischjager, the man from Holland, will go through to the final.
I didn't start very well, in my opinion. I was too fast with the doubles. And I was lucky to come ahead. And then I feel this after 7-5, I played a little bit better. I was lucky, of course. I took a double, which I knew was very tough, but I came in with double 4. And I knew when I can win that game, it was crucial.
Welcome to the second semi-final. A match between Luigi Villa of Italy and Andreas Humke of Germany.
And here we see former world champion Luigi Villa. He rolls double 2s. And this is an interesting position. Let's see what Luigi does. He has the opportunity to make his bar, but there is another play, and that is to shift from his 3-point to his ace-point and attack. And in fact, that is the better play. Luigi has missed a play there. It's actually somewhat indicative of the older style of play. He's not willing to take bigger risks for immediate tactical gains that the modern player knows are worthwhile. But moving on, we now see that Andreas has rolled a 5-4, and he has a very interesting choice. He can play somewhat cautiously by moving that checker around, or perhaps he could break his prime to hit. That's what he's thinking about doing right now, and that's what he does.
Can you see the distinctive styles between the two? Of course, we've got on one hand, we've got the traditional player. We've got this new age player coming through.
You really can. Even this early on, you can see that that one player has been playing the game for a lot longer and actually has some of the older, perhaps, misconceptions about the game. But interesting things have happened. Luigi has come in and hit a checker. Andreas has come back and has come in, and there's an immediate double take, and that's quite a big error. So we've seen an interesting reversal of types of errors here. In the first game, Andreas Humke passed an easy take, and this position is in fact a pass. And without much thought at all, Humke came in and just said, sure, I will take this cube.
Well,
Let's see how it
Humke's
works
making
out.
some pretty big decisions, some snap decisions. He's not taking much time. Is this part of his style, his play, or is it just the nerves?
He is known as a money player. He's a pretty aggressive player, so you don't expect a lot of deep thought from him. I haven't played him in tournament matches, so I'm not really sure what to expect. But this is kind of interesting. He has equalized already, so that's part of the nature of backgammon. He made a bad take, and now the game is proceeding somewhat in his favor.
Luigi comes in with the 3, has a 6 to play.
And there's no very good 6 except to come out and safety that blot.
He'll have to re-roll. On the young German's thrown a double 5.
Which in this position turns out to be quite strong. It makes the 5th point of the prime, puts Luigi on the bar. Luigi's in pretty dire straits here.
Luigi will come in with the ace. Now, this is interesting.
Yes, he has a choice of 4s there, and in fact picked the wrong one. That's quite a big error. He's hit loose on the ace point, and he maintains his 8 point, so he's sort of saved a few blots, but the 8 point is the 4 point is what he wants to attack on, and that was just a weak play. So we've got a really quick recube here. This is our first recube of the match, and it turns out that that's absolutely correct. This is a redouble and a take. It's quite a bit of drama. What we've missed here is that immediately after the recube, Andreas fanned, and now Luigi is coming around, but notice that Luigi is still behind this 5 prime. That's a pretty devastating roll.
That is unbelievable. Sometimes luck plays a big role.
Sometimes luck turns the game around just in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, Humke has outstanding position here. He's bringing his checkers around and is very likely to win more than a few points in this position.
Well, what do you do in a situation like this? If you're Luigi, I mean, there's nothing you can do. The dice aren't going your way.
Well, you have to remember it's just one game. I mean, people talk about streaks all the time, and streaks happen, but they're not predictive. You're in the middle of a streak. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen the next game. So you just have to take a deep breath and start with what's happening right now. What's happening right now is you're in trouble. You're getting pounded, but that's really all that Luigi can do. So Humke's in a position where he's thinking about whether he wants to make this aggressive play. He does. He breaks his prime. It turns out that's not the right play at this score. It just happens to be that he's already got enough gammon chances by playing quietly. But it seems to be working out. And another set of double fives. This means that Humke is really in command. He's on his way to closing 3 checkers out, and that's certainly an outstanding position.
Well, if he wasn't in trouble before, he certainly is now. Villa needs a bit of luck to go his way, I imagine.
Villa needs a 2. He needs quite a few 2s and does not roll them.
Fans.
So right here, Humke's done exactly what he needs. He's closed out 3 checkers, and notice that, of course, he doubled at the right time. He offered the cube to 4 before rolling the big jokers, and that's why he's about to win what looks almost certainly like 8 points.
Could be more.
Could be more. Backgammons are unlikely. They do happen, but they're unlikely. But in this position, 3 checkers out in the bar. Humke escapes his last checker. He brings it around, and this looks like this is going to roll on towards an easy gammon.
Going into the third game, Humke up 8-1. He has a 73% chance of winning the match.
This is a very interesting roll. This 6-2, Humke could use to close his deuce point, but he doesn't. He makes the right play. He hits a second checker. Luigi comes in with 1. Luigi's certainly still the favorite here, but new things are happening.
And Humke with a double 3. Unbelievable. How quickly can it turn?
How quickly can it turn? That is his best roll, and he plays it, of course, correctly. He makes the 5 points in a row. This is the beginning of a turnaround. Of course, anything can still happen.
Those Luigi fans, not easy.
And another double 3. That forms a 6 prime. That's the strongest position you can have in the game of backgammon. And look at this. The ultimate anti-joker with a 1-5 there. Suddenly Luigi's position has collapsed, and Humke correctly plays on for the gammon. That could have been a cube. Someone else, flush with the sense of victory, might have doubled there, but Humke correctly decides, I'm not happy with just 2 points. I'm going to play on and try to get more out of this position, and that's certainly what looks like is happening here.
So Humke playing for a 12-1 lead here. What does Snowy say about that no offer?
Snowy agrees. This was a case, one of the rare cases where Andreas's position became too good all of a sudden. He was in a position where he couldn't think about offering the cube, and then suddenly, with 1 destructo roll, Luigi Villa's position collapsed, and Humke was indeed too good. So Snowy is in perfect agreement. Andreas is got to be happy about this situation. He's taken an 8-1 lead, and suddenly he's holding a 2 cube and playing on for the gammon, and he's got 4 checkers trapped behind his prime. That's what you want to see happen.
And now we're actually seeing Luigi crash his board.
That is what's happening. It's just getting worse and worse for him.
Well, I guess 20 years ago as a player, you could only judge yourself against other good players, different from today, I guess.
Yeah, there's a big sea change in backgammon, and that came, of course, entirely by way of Snowy, that right now Humke has certainly played 100 times as many games as Luigi has in his life because he's been playing against Snowy. So Andreas has had a much better position of refining his game. We're sort of looking into a time machine when we watch Luigi Villa play because we're sort of seeing how backgammon has been played in the past.
Tell me, how has technology influenced today's backgammon player?
Oh, it's just had a huge impact. There's been no question. We now have machines. We have Snowy. We have other computer programs that actually tell us the answers to positions that we've never known the answers to before. So anyone who's willing to put the time in to study can find out things. So what the general words of wisdom are right now is that the average club player today, the person who goes to a pub and plays, is playing at a higher level than the world champion of 1980. It's just been that much of a change in the game.
Well, Humke bearing off now, really, just living on a prayer and a hope. Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi's in very, very bad shape. He's still got 4 checkers back, and he's not rolling the numbers to escape them. That ace-deuce there is not doing anything. So here we have a moment of drama. This is a 3-2, and Humke can choose to take 2 off, or he could have closed the Baron off from the back. He's playing aggressively, and that's the right thing to do when Luigi has such a cracked board.
Now, Humke, I know it's a long shot, but he must be thinking perhaps a backgammon.
A backgammon is not out of the question. He's in a position with 3 checkers back, and of course, because Luigi's board is so cracked, he's able to take more risks to perhaps get that backgammon.
So has Luigi been making any mistakes to get to this point?
Well, early in the game, there are a lot of mistakes, but right now, no, this is just, look, he's rolling really bad numbers. That's a 3-1. He'd love to be getting his checkers from out of his home board, but he hasn't been able to. So here, Humke is forced to leave a shot, and Luigi misses. So once again, this is just not going in Luigi's direction at this point. So with a 5-1, Humke is able to cover, and
another low throw by Luigi. It's just not his day today in this game.
no, and certainly not when he's trailing 1-8, and certainly not when he's had to double early in this game. This is no, that's just really unfortunate for him. So with the 2-1 there, he's absolutely in danger of backgammon right now. He needs to roll 2 numbers better than a 6, and he does not. So of course he's going to leave 1 checker back in case Humke rolls an ace. If Humke rolls an ace, then Luigi will have 1 more opportunity to try to hit. But you can see a little weariness on his face. This is not the situation that he wants to be in.
Double 6, and there's a backgammon. This will take the lead to 14-1, and now he has a 90% chance of winning.
In fact, Andreas Humke increases his lead to 21-9 for a 97% chance of winning the match. But then, as we see, there's an interesting turn of events. Luigi Villa starts winning a number of 1-point games and slowly beginning to crawl his way back into this match.
We're about to pick up the game at 22-20. A remarkable comeback by Luigi, but Humke still with a 75% chance of victory.
And, of course, we should note here that this is a post-Crawford game, and what that means is that Luigi will double at his first opportunity, because, of course, he has nothing to lose. It doesn't matter whether he loses 1 point or 2 points. That would be the entire match.
So perhaps on Luigi's next roll.
Absolutely, on his next roll. And there it is, and there's a take, and that's exactly what we're expecting to happen. So notice that Luigi's still behind. He's still not the favorite to win the match, but if he wins a single game, the match will be tied at 22-22. If he wins a double game or a triple game, Luigi can make a quite impressive comeback.
So really the pressure must go back onto the shoulders of Humke a little bit now. He knows the stakes are high.
Yeah, it's a really interesting position. It's hard to know who's going to be more upset right now because Humke had this overwhelming advantage and now has let a lot of it crumble away. On the other hand, Luigi's still losing, so there's pressure on all sides.
Should Luigi make his 5-point here?
Yes, he should. It's the strongest point on the board. It looks a little risky. He's leaving a few blots out. But at this score in particular, he wants to play pure. He wants to maximize his gammons, and that play was not correct. So, Andreas Humke rolls a 2-3. He's thinking about what he wants to do. He's certainly going to hit 1 checker. He has an opportunity to hit again on the ace points, but they're both playing a little conservative here. He should have been hitting 2 checkers there.
In this stage of the game, at this stage of the match, who should be doing what? Should they be playing aggressive, defensive? What would you be doing in their shoes?
It's a really interesting question, and it's what's so interesting about match play. And let's look at it with regard to this roll. Humke's just rolled a 2-2, and he plays it really quickly, and he makes a misplay. So let's look at that in a little bit more depth. What happened right there is that Humke is leading in the match, and what he needs to be doing is making plays to minimize the danger of him getting gammoned. And he had a perfect opportunity to do that by making his a perfectly advanced anchor, the 20-point, but he passed it up seemingly without thought and actually moved his checkers a little bit too far forward. That was a bad play.
Luigi to roll. Luigi with a 6-5.
And look, that hits in the outfield, and that's exactly the kind of thing that Humke should have been defending better against with his earlier 2-2.
Comes in. And what should he play here?
He has a 4 to play. I don't... well, he has a choice between coming out or coming down, and that's what he does. He comes out. That looks like a good play. So this is a this is a moment of quite a bit of tension here. Luigi Villa now rolls a double fives, which is not quite as strong as it might look at first. It doesn't actually hit and it doesn't escape, so he has to just move a lot of wood. But it is 20 pips, so it's a good thing, even in this kind of position. Now, can Andreas roll a 2? No, he does not. And notice, with this position, with this roll, it's quite interesting. He could have made his 5-point had he had an extra checker still on his 6-point, had he not played those double 2s in that way. So this is really coming home to roost for Andreas. He did not play those double 2s in a way that makes the rest of his game fall into place.
Would this be something he would remember? Would he be thinking about this now?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I have to admit, from what I know about Andreas Humke, he is not the most dispassionate person on the planet. He might well still be thinking about this. Yes, it is true. Luigi here has a 6-1 to play, and this is worth paying some attention to because there are quite a number of plays here. This is really sort of showing backgammon at its most complex. The things that he'd like to be doing are making his 5-point, making his bar point, or coming out and hitting, and all are reasonable options. Luigi does not find the best play. It turns out that at this score, specifically because he wants to be winning a gammon, hitting that other checker is a must. Luigi is not playing according to score, and that's one of the things that a modern player might be doing.
This double 2 does not allow Humke to safety his blot.
No, it doesn't. That means Luigi has a target to shoot at on his next roll. He really doesn't want to be playing that last checker from the 6 to the 4-point. And once again, I think it all comes back to those double 2s. It's just not an organic position to have your checkers stacked in front of the gap there, deeper in your board.
6-4 by Luigi. What does Snowy indicate he should do here?
Snowy has a pretty strong opinion that Luigi needs to cover his bar, which almost any player would make, but he needs as well to split his backmen, and that's not what Luigi Villa is doing. It's a pretty big error. Snowy has that as a 0.11 error. That's the kind of information that we really only get now, of course, in the computer era. Before that, we might have had 2 or 3 different players with different opinions, but now we actually get to know something a lot closer to the truth.
So he brings one of his backmen out.
And this 6-1 gives Humke a really tough decision. He can hit either in the outfield or by breaking his anchor, and they both have big pluses and minuses, but this has got to be a really tension-filled moment. If he hits on the 8 points, that's great, but he still has 2 checkers back behind a 5'. If he hits by breaking his anchor, as it looks like he might be, he's giving up his anchor, which is a big source of strength in his position. He really doesn't want to lose that anchor and then get gammoned. This is a really tough play.
We can see Humke moving his counters back and forth. Now, is this something that you want to do in this position? You want to physically visualize the alternatives?
Yeah, some players almost never do it. Some players do it a lot. I think it's a really good idea at this point to spend a lot of time. Snowy, by the way, says that the plays are very, very close. But boy, it's a pretty dangerous position. Humke makes the bigger play. And let's see, he may be getting punished for it. With double aces, Luigi Villa, former world champion, is able to hit him off the edge of the prime, and good things may happen from there. Luigi looks like he's making the right play.
Advances his anchor.
He advances his anchor, and he's got 5 points of a prime there. Wow, Andreas Humke is able to roll a 3. That's a really huge roll after all the swings in this match to be able to maybe pull this out after all that. And now, Luigi Villa with a 5-2. Boy, this is another interesting play. It looks very natural to come in on the 20-point, as he has right there, and play this very calm 2 into his own 6-point. But there is an alternative, and that alternative, he's moving him back, is to come in on the 23. It puts 3 checkers back on the back of a prime. That's not what he wants, but it does allow him to hit Humke off the edge of the prime, and that's what he does, and that's the right play.
Fans, unlucky on that occasion.
Unlucky. The swings in this match could be really big. With a 3-5, he gets to cover his 5-point board and come out. This is a really big swing in favor of Luigi Villa.
3 and 4 fans again.
Again. That's not what he wants to see. And a 5-2 instantly hits another checker. This is a really stunning turnaround. You can see on Humke's face, you can see quite a bit of excitement because he's rolled double twos, entering both checkers and making his 5-point. Oh, he glances at his opponent there. Indeed, he's just rolled a joker. Wouldn't it be amazing after losing that much of a lead to come back suddenly? All he has to do is roll a 6. Luigi fans, Humke needs to roll a 6. He could pick up 4 checkers, and the match could finally be over. Luigi fans again. Humke does not roll a 6, a 4-2. It works. It's helpful. It's constructive. It makes another point. But boy, that 6 is what he wants to see. Not for
double
Luigi.
6 and fanning.
Double 2s, still not what he wants to be seeing. He brings a checker in. Simply rolling one number. If Andreas Humke could call one number one time in this tournament, he would be doing it right now just to give himself a 6 and get out of there.
Fans again. Now, can he throw a 6? No.
No. So his position is beginning to crumble. It's a really tense moment here. Luigi knows that this is a tense moment. He's taking time before rolling. If he could just come in, and maybe even hit that checker, suddenly the game would be his. 2-2. A very interesting roll. Look, the first 2 plays, boom, he's got a 6 prime. And it's quite an interesting position. What Snowy tells us is that there's an unnatural play, which is quite correct, which is to move from his 3-point to his ace point, which leaves an intact 5 prime. But Luigi makes a little bit more natural play, but it turns out not to be correct. And he's punished for it. Humke rolls a 5-4. Clearly he's going to come out with a 5, and now, boy, he's going to spend a little time on this 4. Does he run one checker further, or does he pick up a blot? Picking up a blot looks good.
Safest move, I guess, in that situation.
Safest move. Luigi needs to come out or do something to attack. The fact that Luigi's got 3 checkers back is what's hindering him. Boom. 3-1. It's a number that hits both checkers. There is so much riding on this next roll. Can Humke roll a 2 and suddenly have 3 blots to pick up?
Humke misrolls for a second time, and just how cruel is life. On that first misroll, he rolled the 2 he needed.
Even on the second roll, it looked like it, and then he fans on the third roll. That's just a huge swing, and we're playing with the dice game. That's all what's happening. And here, Luigi Villa, former world champion, rolls a 3-1. Suddenly, he has a 6-point prime with 2 checkers behind it. If Luigi can roll a 6, which he does, suddenly this is just an overwhelming turn of events. Luigi looks like he's about to win a gammon, and if he wins a gammon, he comes back from being a 3% underdog in this match to all the way up to 100. It's not guaranteed, but boy, he's in a good shape to do that right now.
Watching from the beginning of this match, way back, we saw Humke go out to a big lead. Now the pressure's on him, his back's against the wall, and look at his body language. Look at his face. You can see the tension. I can feel it.
It's pretty amazing. I've been in some pretty big turnaround matches in my career, but never anything like a 21-9 lead to 23 points. It's just that's just kind of outrageous. It's not over. It's going to be an amazing story, regardless of who wins here. But when we look at this, you look at this position, you can see who you'd rather be. You'd certainly rather be in the white checkers, and that's pretty much the first time in the match, in this entire match. This is the first time that Luigi Villa is in the lead, and it's happening in what might well be the last game.
Luigi takes a sip of his water there. His heart must be pounding too. I mean, mine's pounding. Just looking at these two players, I can't imagine what's going through their minds. This is unbelievable. It looks like it's all one-way traffic now. Is there a chance for Humke?
Oh, sure. I mean, Humke is very unlikely to win this game. But the big question right now is simply, will Humke get off of the gammon? Is Humke going to be gammoned and lose the match? Or will this simply be a plain game which leaves the score 22-22 in a match to 23? Then it would be anyone's ball game. That's what the race that matters here is, will Humke get gammoned? And it really is all going to depend on his dice. We look at this position, 2 checkers closed out against a perfect board. Humke gets gammoned only about 40% of the time here. But still, that's 40% of the time that he loses the match, and the other 60% of the time he's even money. So it's a big turnaround from being up to 97% to win.
So now we're back to an interesting phase here. Now becomes the important rolls and the important moves in terms of the outcome of the game. the game's outcome and whether it's a gammon or just a straight loss.
Absolutely. If Humke can roll a single 6 here, which he does, that's 1-6. He's a much better chance of saving this gammon. Luigi rolls a 5-2. He's bearing off his checkers. So Humke really needs to enter and then just move his checkers around. Of course, he's rolling on the side of the dice, sort of the board with the checkers, so it's a little bit harder. There's a 3-1. It's just crushing how much equity swings on just each roll of the dice right now. And a 4-1. He's just not entering, and there's nothing he can do. He can't complain. He can, he can't shake his fist. He can just sit back and, wow, he finally entered, but again with a very, very small roll.
And a double, unbelievable. Humke needs the doubles. Luigi throws a double 4.
And then a 3-2. The average roll is 8, but he's rolling consistently 5 or 4. It's just, you can see on his face, this is not the turn of events he imagined when he was leading 21-9.
Another double.
It's a pretty disheartening turn of events. It's a double. It's a double aces,
one,
so it's only 4 pips. We're still, even after all this, all Andreas Humke needs is one good roll, and suddenly the match is even at 22-22. It's amazing that he's at a point where he's hoping to get even, but it just shows how cruel the fate can be in this game.
The next few rolls just may decide who will meet Philip Vischjager in the final.
That's right. Backgammon is a dice game, and here we're going to see some dice in action.
Well, it's going to be interesting here. He can close out this match. 3-1, removes 2 from the board. Now this is it.
Look at his face right there. He's so much tension. He rolls a 4-5, and that's just not quite enough. He can't get the 2 crossovers that he needs. Luigi Villa does not roll a double, but it all comes down to this roll. And
he needed a double, and he doesn't get it.
A truly just amazing turnaround. To come back from truly the dead. I mean, he came back from a 3% winning chances in this match to spend so much time to eke his way back to still in a losing position at the beginning of this game, and then finally turn it around with the gammon in the last game. It's really, that's why we watch Backgammon.
Andreas Humke's run has come to an end at the hands of the great Luigi Villa. With one day of competition remaining, all eyes of the backgammon world will be on Monte Carlo, as there is now just one match remaining. Who will be crowned the 31st World Backgammon Champion? Luigi Villa or Philip Vischjager?